Angels Care Home Health, serving Hayes and the surrounding areas, is a Medicare-certified home health agency providing quality skilled nursing and restorative therapy services to patients in their homes.
They're polite. I mean, they just take the time for you.
Angels Care is there to help 24 hours a day, and all services are covered 100% by Medicare for patients who are eligible.
I like the Angels for what they've done for me.
Angels Care Home Health. We serve patients.
Eagle Community Television presents Community Connection with your host, Mike Cooper.
Hello and welcome again to Community Connection. We're at Effie's with Effie Croswell, the owner, CEO, and chief cook and bottle washer of Effie's, just off the 183 highway in Rush Center, Kansas. Effie, it's a real pleasure for Jeff and me to be able to finally get a chance to visit with the legend of Kansas when it comes to hamburgers and when it comes to food and when it comes to Effie's place. All right, let's start at the beginning. How did Effie's begin?
Well, in '63, I could rent a round-top building here for $80 a month. And I rented it for 1 year, and I didn't like the restaurant business. So I quit. And I didn't work in '64. In '65, I thought, well, maybe I'd like it if I'd go back. So I've been here since 1965.
The same building?
No, in an old round top. And I gave $80 a month rent, and the man never wanted to sell it. Well, he passed away in '71. And his wife, Marianne, came down and asked if I wanted to buy it. And I said, well, yeah. Didn't have a penny in my pocket, but I said, yeah. And she said, well, I want $3,000 for it. And I said, okay. So I wrote her a check. And I went right up to the bank, and I told them what I did. Well, yeah, we'll give you the money, you know. So that's when I bought it, in 1971. They tore it down and built this new building.
And you've been here ever since?
And I've been here ever since. The building's been added on 2 more times, but I added on my utility room, and then later on, my son wanted a pizza place. So I built on the pizza place.
That's the little area in back,
yes,
just behind our main building
yes,
here.
Yes, right. And then he was foreman on the highway, so he got shipped off to Great Bend to be foreman. And so my daughter moved in, and she's been in it ever since.
And she runs the pizza
Yeah,
part
she
of it.
runs the pizza part of it.
But it's for limited hours,
Yes,
right, Effie?
Right, right. She usually only on Sunday nights, because she works here for me Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
Well, now, when you started, it wasn't actually a hamburger place, was it? I mean, you had some visitors, but there wasn't any food.
No. When I first started, that was years ago, well, like I said, '65, the men would come in and play cards all day long. They'd come in and sit and play cards. And so about 3 months later, they said, Effie, haven't you got something we could eat? Well, no. Well, so I went and found a little grill, probably 18 by 18, and hooked it up and went up to Lloyd Maggart's meat shop, and I would get 10 pounds of hamburger a day. And I'd cook those guys hamburgers, and that was just what they wanted. We didn't have fries for a long time, but they wanted that hamburger, and usually a potato chip. And so then in, what year did I get my big one? I've had my big grill probably.
You said 40 years, I think, right?
Yeah, 40 years or more. Because
And
I've been here
that thing is huge.
51 years I've been here.
But you needed a bigger grill.
Yeah, I needed a bigger grill.
As the word got out and the hamburger
Yes.
business expanded.
Right, right. And I've always enjoyed it.
Now, how much hamburger do you go through a day?
Oh, 60 to 80 pounds, probably.
In addition to the potatoes
Yes.
for the fries.
Yes.
But Effie's is a whole lot more than just hamburgers now, isn't it?
Yes, I make dinners too. Every day has its day. And they know what they're going to get that day before they come in.
Go through the menu for us.
Okay, Mondays they either have they either have chicken salad sandwiches or ham salad sandwiches and macaroni salad, and then all the hamburgers. And then Tuesday's our hamburger steak day. And then I usually have another meat with that, with scalloped potatoes and a vegetable. And then Wednesdays are hamburger gravy on toast and potato salad. And Thursday we have ham and beans and coleslaw. They wanted them on Friday, and I said, no, you go to church on Sunday, you're not getting them on Friday. So then Friday we have that, and then I'm closed on Friday every week. That's my day to go to the doctor and go pick up my groceries. And then I open on Saturday, and that's we have to make potato soup for one certain man. He's old and he just loves that potato soup. So I make potato soup, sloppy joes, and a salad. Probably, it usually turns out to be a lettuce salad that I make on Saturday.
Okay. And closed on Sunday.
And I'm closed on Sunday.
Okay. So 2 days out of the week, you're closed.
Yeah, closed on Friday.
Friday and Sunday.
Sunday, right.
But every other day, you're open, serving.
Right.
What hours are you open?
I come over here at 6 in the morning, and I open my door about 10 till 8, and the coffee drinkers come in. And I have some rolls or cookies or something there on the table. They get their own coffee because they get it for 25 cents a cup.
It's self-serve.
Yeah, it's self-serve. But right at 10 or 10 till 10, they all get up and leave. And they all carry their cups to the kitchen, puts them in the sink for me. You know, I don't fool with them. And then the next morning you expect them again. They're all here.
Now,
I told them yesterday, I said, now you're not coming tomorrow, because I'm not washing cups and stuff.
I was going to say the next step is to have them wash their own dishes,
Yeah.
right, Effie?
Yeah, I guess, but
Now, these are regulars. You see
every
pretty
day.
much same faces all the time?
every day and every day and every day. Yeah.
So, what's the secret of success of Effie's since 1965?
Well, just do what the customers need done, I guess. I don't know. I have no regret of opening or anything, and it's all been good to me.
Is there a secret ingredient that you won't tell people about what's in there?
Well, that's just plain hamburger, nothing else. It's just hamburger. But if I can't be here, it's locked up. Last Thursday I couldn't be here because my helper was on jury duty. And so I just locked the door Thursday and Friday both. And then she was back Saturday because jury was over. And we worked Saturday and nobody complained.
How about the menu? You mentioned some of the menus that you've gone through, but really the whole concept of Effie's is that famous hamburger.
Yeah, that hamburger. It's all made by hand. I patty it out by hand. I just grab up a chunk of hamburger and patty it out and put a piece of paper between each one. You could have looked in my refrigerator. You would have saw probably 40 big ones and 40 little ones with paper in between them already. I do that when I first come in the morning.
So you can get the small ones or you can get the jumbo size.
Right.
But you also can get cheese, right?
Yeah, cheeseburgers. Yeah.
And fries now.
Yeah, fries.
How many potatoes do you suppose you go through?
I don't use regular potatoes. I use the frozen potatoes.
Okay.
French fries.
All right.
And-
Makes it a lot easier,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
And
for
I
prep?
get them out of, they come from Cashway, and I get them once a week, and I get them 7 boxes, and there's 6 big sacks to a box. And that'll run me a week.
A week? That's all?
Yeah, he comes every Wednesday.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
One of the busiest times of the year for Effie's?
Well, I don't know. I'm just busy every day.
Rush Center, of course, has the big St. Patrick's Day
Oh,
event,
yes.
the Labor Day parade, and so forth like that.
And this is the first year, as long as I've been here, I was not open on that day. I told them, when you're past 90 years old, you need to get out and see that parade.
You missed the parade all these
I
years.
did, because they'd come in and maybe stand and look out the window so they could stay in here and drink a beer.
While you're
you know,
working.
while I'm working. So I just...
This time you closed the door.
I locked it up, set my pickup out there, and got my lawn chair out and watched the parade.
Oh,
So,
it's always a big event, too,
Yeah.
in Rush Center,
Yeah, it
and
is.
well attended, too.
yeah, it's nice.
Why do you keep doing it?
I couldn't stand to stay home. I've been out so long. And like when I do close in the summertime, I'm out with my grandkids all the time. Or I'm doing my mowing, or I'm painting the house a little bit, or I've always got something to do. But through the winter, it's hard to find something to do, and I can't sew anymore. So I like to work.
Let's talk about those customers. A lot of regulars, and those customers really support you too, don't
Yes, they do.
they? In so many ways, not just in attending and eating at the restaurant and such.
They'd do anything for me, just anything. If I have one guy that he'll mow if I'm not careful. I got a new riding lawnmower last year again. He just goes in my garage, and yet I have an opener to open my garage, but he knows how to open it. And he goes and gets my mower and mows the yard.
He'll beat you to it then.
Yeah, but I have a lot to mow because I mow the draw and around that old barn, and I do have a lot. But I enjoy that. That's the kind of work I like to do in the summertime.
Kind of nice too that in Rush Center you live pretty close to the restaurant.
Yeah,
It's pretty easy to
right.
get to and from work, isn't it?
Right.
No long commutes
No,
then, right?
No.
What about the other things? There's so many things in here, and Jeff will be showing us pictures during our talk here today, Effie, of things that customers have brought in. What are some of the things you could point out to us that the customers have brought?
Well, let me tell you, the very first thing I ever got, I got several of these in the old Round Top yet. A man, old bachelor, came in with that Red Tiger can right up there. That big square red.
Yeah, okay.
And he said, Effie, would you give me a beer for this? And I did. And from then on, he was always in here with one, or somebody was going somewhere, bringing me back a can or a tray. And then we joined a tin can convention deal, Jeff and I did, when he was still alive. And we'd traveled all over, going to those conventions, New York and everywhere, going to see
And
California.
that's where this collection came
Yeah.
from then, that are displayed up here?
And I would buy one or two pieces, you know, or somebody would give me a piece, and that's how I got started. Well, I got started with Jack bringing in his old tiger
With that
can.
first one?
With that tiger can. And
Got
I
any
thought,
idea how
whatever.
many there are now?
I don't know. I sure don't know.
And they're on the walls too. You've got
Yeah.
another display on the wall over
Yeah.
there. Oh, that's amazing. You know, of course, that Effie's has become legendary. You've had media from all over the place come in.
Yes, I have. And they've all been good, and I just always say, well, that's free advertisement. They'll know I'm here.
Absolutely. When did all this? When did this first media blitz start? Do you remember? Was it newspaper?
Oh,
Was
yeah,
it
it's newspaper.
radio, television? What?
Newspaper, and I had a little granddaughter that was 5 years old, or great-granddaughter. And she was wiping the table right there. She was looking up like this, wiping that table, and a guy came in and took a picture of her. I wasn't even in the very first one. She was the one that was in the best.
And you have that picture.
Yeah,
right?
I do. I have it laying over there somewhere. And wrote a story about it. Well, then from then on, somebody was here wanting to write a little story. I've had a camera in here before taken, but that time I was on television.
And as I told you, Effie's is on Google now.
Yeah,
You
well,
can you can find out all about the history.
And
of
that's what
Effie's
somebody
now.
told me.
And you meet customers from what? All over Kansas, all
I
over
do.
the Midwest.
I do. I have a lot, and a lot of them come to the kitchen door and tell me they're here and introduce themselves, you know, and this is the first time I'm here that, you know. And,
Tell you where they're
know,
from.
And I'm glad, because when I start to cook, I don't get a chance to get out here.
You don't visit much
No,
then, do you?
No, I don't get a chance to get out here.
This is the Community Connection. We're at Effie's place. Effie's the owner and CEO of Effie's in Rush Center. More coming up on our Community Connection.
Angels Care Home Health, serving Hayes and the surrounding areas, is a Medicare certified home health agency providing quality skilled nursing and restorative therapy services to patients in their homes.
They're polite. I mean, they just take the time for you.
Angels Care is there to help 24 hours a day, and all services are covered 100% by Medicare for patients who are eligible.
I like the Angels for what they've done for me.
Angels Care Home Health. We serve patients.
Welcome back to our Community Connection from Eagle Community Television. Thanks to our producer and editor again, Jeff DeRoll. We're at Effie's Place. Effie's, of course, just off the 183 highway in Rush Center. The legendary Effie's Place, as we talk with the owner, Effie Croswell. And as we talk with Effie, we find out that Rush Center's been home for a long time. Now, your parents were from near St. Joseph, Missouri, right?
Well, they lived in Van Buren County, Iowa, is where they lived. And they brought me out here when I was 2 years old. And Dad worked for a farmer south of Rush Center here for a few years. And then he got a job on the railroad. And there was 5 of us kids. And I was the middle one. And Dad worked on the railroad for several years. And then he bought a little piece of ground here and moved in first he moved in a railroad car. And he built onto that till we had a home here at Rush Center. So I went to grade school here and high school here. And they moved back in 42, I think, back to Iowa, Mom and Dad. The kids were all gone by then. And I begged Dad, of course I was going with a little boy, and I didn't want to leave, and he was going to go. I was going with Jeff, he's my husband now, was, and he was going to leave for the service in August, and we moved them back there June the 9th, well, June the 7th we went back there, and I begged Dad to let me come back to Kansas, just let me go back to Kansas, and well, okay, so he let me come back, and we stopped on the way home, and his brother had taken him. My folks moved him down there in a stock truck, a new stock truck. And we stopped and got married on the way back. $7.50 to get married.
Where was this now? Where'd you get married?
Well, don't ask me. I don't know.
That's going to stay a secret then, huh?
Well, anyhow, when we got back, we had a house up here. And so we went to that house, and we had a central office here then. Katie Dighton ran it. So we walked up there, and I called my dad. I said, Dad, guess what? I got married on the way back. You don't ever need to come home again.
Oh.
But when Jeff left for the service, I went to Camp Crowder, Missouri, and lived with him until he left to go overseas. And then I went back to live with Dad. And Dad was just so happy to see me, you know. And I worked at Cudahy's picking chickens. And then in October, Jeff's dad died. And he lived at Albert, Kansas. And so I came home from Camp Crowder and was with my folks. Well, they called me and they called Jeff, and we never had any idea that we would meet in Kansas City in the depot. That was the biggest surprise. We both got there at the same time.
Wow.
So we came out here for the funeral, and of course I got pregnant then, and he had to go on to the service, and our son Gary, he's 71, was born in my mom's bed at Bedford, Iowa. There was no hospitals around, and he was born there. And
how'd you find your way to Rush Center?
My folks came to Rush Center when I was little, 2 years old.
Okay.
I don't know. And then later on, his folks moved out here, so the whole Million family. I was a Million before I married Curl. And Dad just worked for that farmer out here. I don't know, because they'd never ever lived out here. We came out here in an old Model T. I remember Dad telling me that and having pictures of it, you know, that I saw as I grew up. But I don't know how they stopped at Rush Center, but that's where they always lived, Rush Center.
That's where you wound up.
Yeah, that's where I wound up.
And I think probably some of that, Effie, came from that work ethic that you had there working on the farm and working in the family and such.
I left home when I was in the 5th grade then and moved in with a family at Lake Cross, Gertie and Hubert Brackney, to take care of their 3 kids and go to school. I was a 5th grader. And I lived with them until I was an 8th grader, and she bought me a real nice graduation dress, and I got 50 cents a week for watching the kids and cooking and washing dishes. But after I was ready for high school, I moved in with the family that he ran the grocery store there. And they had no kids, but I had to keep house there. And that's where I lived until Jeff and I, when we moved the folks back to Bedford, Iowa then. And so.
Kind of nice that your kids are close.
Yeah, it is. I enjoy that. And I don't, like I say, my son lives right in my yard, but there'll be 3 or 4 weeks that I don't even visit with him. You know, and if he wants something, he knows he can come over. And if I want something, I know I can go over. So I know they're close. So.
Tell me how Effie's interest in dirt track racing evolved, because there is the Crowell Brothers Racing, if you will.
Okay, when these 2 little boys was really little, Matthew and Jacob Crowell, that would be my grandson, Stephen, was Gary's oldest boy, my son's oldest boy, is Stephen. And he married a girl from Lake Cross, Patty Brandt. And when those kids were little, they run just those little dirt bikes from the time they were 5 years old on up. And we'd go to Oklahoma and all over watching those kids race. Well, then when they got older, like in high school, they each got a car. And this was their cars first over here. That orange one was Jacob's and the white one was Matthew's.
Okay.
And then later on, well, Jacob just got rid of that orange one this year. And it's going to be fun because him and Matthew will both race in the same race. They both have the same kind of car this year.
Oh.
So it's going to be fun watching.
No kidding.
And then, like I said, Patty's dad, Carl Brandt, lost his wife several years ago. And he has a son, Richard, that lives with him. That's pretty old. He travels. He's some kind of a salesman. But they haul me to all the races, and I get to go.
You're pretty much a regular
So-
at those speedways in
Yeah.
Waukegan and Hayes, aren't you,
Yes.
Effie?
Yes, and we go several places. We was in Oklahoma last fall, and Matthew made it clear up to the last race, and he lost his transmission. So he didn't win anything. So we came home. Well, that was fun coming home, though, because we stopped at the gambling place and got a motel and stayed overnight. Gambled a little bit and came home.
I guess maybe I shouldn't ask if you won any money.
Well,
or...
I'm kind of tight. I take $20 in, and if I don't win anything with $20, forget it.
Forget
But
it.
Stephen, my grandson, and Patty was along too, and Carl and I. And I gave Stephen $20, and he won me. I said, whatever you win, or if you lose, that's okay too. He won me $168, and he got $168.
Aha.
So I just put mine in my pocket.
Okay, now, at the restaurant, you had a longtime helper, Shelly Kirchner,
Right.
who worked with you for some 35 years.
She
I
started when she was an 8th grader in grade school. And it's only been about 2 years ago or 3, I can't quite remember, that she doesn't work for me anymore. But they come in to eat, her and her husband, all the time. But she runs the Sail Barn restaurant now. And she works Wednesdays and Fridays. They have sales at Lake Cross. And she cooks there. Well, she has her own little restaurant in there.
Oh, wow.
And she cooks there, so.
But you have family members helping here, right?
Yes, my daughter helps here. She should be in most any time now because she comes in about 10 till 11 or so. And she works Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday dinner hour. And then for supper hour, my grandson, Trev's wife, comes in to work, Judy. And then she comes on Thursday and she comes on Saturday. Judy does. So it's family.
Have you always had the 2 meals most days, the dinner menu and then the supper menu?
I only have a supper menu Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And then Thursday we close after the dinner hour. And then Friday I'm closed at all. And then Saturday we close after the dinner hour. So.
And for as long as I can remember, you've always taken summers off to do things for Effie, right?
I do. It's
Closing in what, June?
the last day of June. Because it's so hot in here. I can keep them warm in the winter with my furnace, but that air conditioner, that's just a water air conditioner, a big one, it can't keep us cool enough. And I got a good cooler at home, so.
That's where you'd rather be.
Well, then I'm always racing and I have to mow, and, and if one of the
Well, and there's the garden too.
Well, I used to put out a big garden, but now all I put out is 3 tomato plants. And 2 of those is in an old tire that used to be Linda's sandbox that was cut out with a tractor tire.
Yeah.
So I plant 2 tomato plants in that, and 1 in a long planter that Jeff had built for flowers. And then the rest of it's kind of a little vine, but 1 tomato plant there and 2 over there, and that's my garden.
What's your tomato favorite?
I used to plant, what was it, Victor.
Victor, okay.
I used to, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I just pick up one when I go to.
Just grab one and
Yeah.
go, huh?
3.
And hope for the best.
I buy 3, and yeah.
That's-
But last year, they would bloom, but we'd lose the blooms in that hot weather.
Yeah.
And then when it got kind of towards fall, then we started getting tomatoes setting on.
But people can always expect after the summer, that first week in November, Effie's going to be back.
Yes, I will. The first Monday in November, I'll be back. And they'll be calling before. Are you coming back? Well, yes, I'm coming back.
Do you ever think about doing anything else
No.
since 1965?
Yeah, I really didn't. I did my own farming after Jeff died, though.
Well, now, in our final couple of minutes here, Effie, for all the people, all the customers you've had, do you remember any famous customers that came through that might be in memory?
Oh, I
I
don't
mean,
know.
other than Jeff Durrell.
I just don't remember.
But they always tell you that it's the first time I visited.
Yeah.
It's the first time I'm here. I'm from.
Yeah.
And they're all from all over
Yeah,
the country.
yeah, they come from everywhere. And I enjoy them all, and I'm always glad when they come to the kitchen and say hi, Or I have time to run out and shake their hand and say, oh, you're new here today. But it's good to me.
Well, long may you continue, Effie.
Well, thank you very much. I keep saying when I close in this June, will I be able to come back in November? I'm going to have that foot surgery, but I'll be here, I expect.
That's really the only impediment, isn't it?
Yeah, I had foot surgery on this one 2 years ago. And then the neighbors all carried me in food. I didn't have to worry. They had food for me every day, and they was there doing stuff for me.
That's what happens in
yeah.
communities like Rush
Yeah,
Center.
and I'm happy I live in Rush Center.
Effie Crowell. Effie's Place, just off 183 in Rush Center, our community connection.
Angels Care Home Health, serving Hayes and the surrounding areas, is a Medicare-certified home health agency providing quality skilled nursing and restorative therapy services to patients in their homes.
And the Angel Care nurse comes to see me once a week.
Angels Care is there to help 24 hours a day, and all services are covered 100% by Medicare for patients who are eligible.
Angel Care has helped to stay home.
Angels Care Home Health. We serve patients.